Number 26 in the 42 ideas in leadership is the path-goal theory, or the path-goal model. This comes to us from Robert House and others. It was originally developed in the mid-1970s and then updated again in the 1990s. We're going to be looking at the original model from the 1970s here. Basically, this idea says that leaders help followers achieve their expected results by clarifying objectives and clearing obstacles. This is based on the expectancy theory of motivation by Vroom, the idea that people are motivated if they feel that they have the ability and the clarity to achieve their goals, and that they're a little bit challenging, but that they're able to achieve them. So this is that they feel that they're expected goals. Okay, this is one of the ideas here. So therefore, when we're looking at the path-goal theory, it's like a servant model of leadership, because the leader is there to help the followers achieve their goals. And the objective of the leader is not only by clarifying them, but also by getting rid of obstacles on the path to achieving those goals. In graphic form, here we go. The leader behaviours, the ideal leader behaviours, of which in the original model there are 4, these are influenced by the follower characteristics and the environmental or task characteristics. So by adapting the right behaviour to the characteristics of the follower and the environment, it is possible to motivate them towards achieving the goals and being productive. The objective there for the leader is to ensure that the personal and the organisational goals are aligned. At a low level of motivation, sometimes the followers and the team of followers, their goals are not aligned with the organisation, and therefore the leader has to ensure that they are. The leader has to clarify and define goals, especially in ambiguous situations, and then to give direction and support to the followers in achieving those goals. So like facilitators and mentors and coaches. And the last point, which we've already mentioned, is to clear obstacles on the path to those goals. So these work together. The follower, the environmental characteristics, influencing leader behaviours to create motivation and employee and follower satisfaction in achieving the goals. Let's look at the 4 leader behaviours in a little bit more detail. So the first one is the directive behaviour. This is where the leader gives instructions, lets people know what is expected and how it's done. They give a timeline for achieving things, setting standards, making sure that the rules and regulations are clear, and then ensuring that rewards are distributed correctly and that discipline is put in place where necessary. The supportive leadership behaviour is where the leader is friendly and approachable, treats followers as equals, treats them with respect, makes work pleasant, and there's a personal concern for the needs and the welfare and the well-being of the followers. This is the supportive leadership behaviour. The next one is the participative leadership behaviour. This is where the followers are involved in taking decisions. The leader consults with the followers and shares information so that they are involved in the decision making. And the final one is achievement oriented, which is where there's a high level for the followers, and that the leader challenges the followers, has high expectations for them, and then trusts the followers to find their own way to a certain extent towards achieving those clear objectives that are challenging and have high expectations related to them. Now, the characteristics of the follower are also, we're going to relate them here to the directive, supportive, participative, and achievement-oriented leadership behaviours. And there is a spectrum here which is connected to 4 areas that are describing the follower. The need for affiliation, the preferences for structure, the desire for control, and the self-perceived level of taskability. These are the 4 descriptors for the follower. And depending on where the follower falls on these 4 descriptors, they're at one point of the spectrum or another. So directive leadership behaviour works best for dogmatic and authoritarian employees who believe that the locus of control in their lives is external. For them, the directive style works best. The supportive style works best for people who they have a high need for affiliation, they're unsatisfied with their job, maybe they find the work quite stressful and distressing, and therefore they need a supportive leader to give them support and guidance throughout the job. The participative leadership style is best for followers who have a high perception of their own ability. They believe that they control what happens in their lives. They're relatively autonomous, and that they have a need for control and a little bit of clarity in their job still. And the final level, the achievement-oriented ones, are for followers who have a desire and a need to excel. They have a high expectation for themselves and a very high perception of their ability. So as we can see, depending on the follower, there are different leadership behaviours that will be best matched. Now, when it comes to the environment, there are also different characteristics. The first is the description of the task that the follower has to complete. Also then the system that exists around them, the formal authority system, and also the primary work group that the follower finds themselves in. All of these are environmental characteristics that influence what is the best leadership behaviour to adapt. So the first one, the directive one, is where there is a mismatch between the team's norms and the objectives for the team. So what they're doing and the way they're acting is not aligned with the formal objectives that they have been given by the organization. This is a performance-oriented team where they have been given clear instructions for what is expected for them in terms of achievement, but there are unclear rules or complex rules about how to achieve those performance-oriented results. So therefore, the leader is able to come in and give that clarity and be directive in their style of leadership. In terms of the supportive, this is for unchallenging, simple and routine tasks which may not be very motivating, and therefore the leader has to come in again and act as a coach, a mentor, and giving support to the followers. The participative leadership style works best in an environment where rules are not very clear, the organisation is not very structured, there's an ambiguous direction, so therefore the leader has to take on a style where they're able to give that direction, but they're involving the followers in creating that direction and creating the rules about how to achieve those goals. And the task environment, or the environment for the achievement-oriented leadership style, would be if it's a challenging environment with lots of complex tasks and roles and structure, and where the focus again is on achieving performance. So therefore, how that is done depends very much on the follower. So therefore, they're given greater autonomy, and the leader is there to make sure that where they're going is clear, and maybe how they get there is something that they can decide themselves. So this is the path goal theory. It is how the follower and the environmental characteristics influence potential leader behaviours, and then the leader adapts the behaviours depending on those characteristics in order to motivate the followers so that they are satisfied that they are able to and can achieve the goals, and therefore this all results in productivity by the organisation. This is number 26 in the 42 Ideas on Leadership. This is path goal theory.